Hey you guys, it's Cecilia from IHI. So I'm just here today to talk to you a little bit about Midsummer Scream. So Midsummer Scream was a Halloween convention that happened in Long Beach, California last weekend. And I just kind of wanted to lay it out for you guys if you guys didn't go, or if you did go and wanted to hear my experiences and compare it to yours. I know a lot of people, if you don't routinely do a con circuit, you're kind of not sure what is offered, especially like a haunted house or a Halloween convention can be kind of ambiguous. So I wanted to talk to you about what was available and what went down. So this video is going to have topic related jump shortcuts down in the info bar, so if you guys have a certain thing that you're concerned about, it'll be down there. So yeah, okay. The lowdown on Midsummer Scream. So Midsummer Scream is a Halloween convention in Long Beach, California. It is a Saturday and Sunday convention, so it's actually pretty short. It's one of the many SoCal haunt cons though, so if you missed it, you probably went to Scream LA instead. Both of them are fantastic, and both of them are actually really huge. I was taken aback. I thought it was going to be kind of a smaller con, like Sinister Creature Con was, but it was thousands and thousands of people. Luckily, the wait to get into the convention was only about 10 minutes because we had prepaid tickets. But, so about the prices, it was about $30 a day. That was like the flat rate, but they had a half-off sale for about 2 months prior to the convention, so that was absolutely worth it. I think I got both my tickets for half off. There was a pre-party, and it was on the Queen Mary, which is a gigantic ship docked in Long Beach, and it's purported to be haunted. So I didn't attend that, but I hear that it was a smash. I went about 4 hours on Saturday, and then about 5.5 hours on Sunday. So that was actually the majority of the con. It was fairly short. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the features. As any standard convention, it had vendors, guests, how-tos, demos, classes. It had a children's corner, which I thought was interesting. It was very family-friendly. It had a few free photo ops where you could sit down and get your picture taken, no charge. It had a costume contest, and then it had the Hall of Shadows, which was kind of its main selling point. And the Hall of Shadows was a giant room in which there were 14 haunted house previews. And these were very short 1 to 2 room demos that acted as kind of an appetizer to get you to visit their longer attraction in the fall. As for the guest lineup, it was fantastic as usual. 2 standout names off the top of my head were Sid Haig and Cassandra Peterson, but there were a ton of others. So guests allowed for photo ops, signatures, and they sold merch, and each one of them set their prices individually. Lines were out the door for basically every guest, but from what I heard and saw, everyone behaved themselves. Both the guests and the attendees were polite. About the vendors hall was gigantic. I think we went around 8 or 9 times and we still didn't see everything. It was packed and it was overwhelming, which I think is how it should be. Every time we went around, it felt like we saw something new. It had everything. It had furniture, merch of all kinds, jewelry, animatronics, movies, posters, shirts, static props, makeup, books. You couldn't spend enough money, basically. There was actually a ton of original work at this convention, not just franchise-based merch, which was really cool to see. This con was uniquely focused on the haunted house aspect, a la the Hall of Shadows. First thing we noticed when we got into the vendors hall was that there were roaming actors, and there were a ton of them. And these were roaming actors with like some really hardcore established characters, and sometimes they would roam in packs. So quite a few times we got set up by one actor, and then there was another one with a scare coming around. So it was immersive, and it was really nerve-wracking and fun because you would be shopping and you wouldn't know if you were about to get scared. I got scared, I think, like 5 or 6 times when I was just like browsing merch. there was a free Addams Family photo op in the vendor hall, and this was hugely popular at all times, of course. So finally we got around to the Hollow Shadows. My boyfriend and I misjudged how long this would take. For some odd reason, this is really the only problem with the convention. So each room was a haunt preview, and it only took 1 or 2 minutes to walk through, but for some reason the lines were 20 to 30 minutes long for each one. So if you consider that the convention was only open for about 12 hours total both days, and you had to wait in line for 20 to 30 minutes for each one, and there were 14 haunted house previews, like, that takes out a huge chunk of the time you have available for the convention. So I think that might have been kind of an error. They might not have realized how many people were interested in the Hall of Shadows, because we only got around to 5, and we were going to do another one on Sunday, and they were actually closing the haunt down, so there was actually less than 12 hours to get through the Hall of Shadows. And although this concept was super dope in theory, it's kind of a disorienting experience for the person walking through, because haunted houses are all about, you know, setting up the scares and setting up the atmosphere so that it's believable and you get immersed. Whereas if the person is only walking through for 2 minutes, there isn't a lot of room to set up a scare or set up the atmosphere. So you are outside it, and you're in it, and then you're out of it. You got all lamped up, and then that's it. Even though, you know, the haunts kind of had to do what they could with the tiny amount of time they were allotted with each group, they had a lot of actors outside the haunts kind of prepping the people in line and getting them into the story, so that I thought that was kind of cool. That being said, each one we went to was a delight and a thrill. Totally worth the price of admission. I love the concept. I cannot wait until they do it again next year, because I wanted to go to every single one of those haunts and we didn't have time. Next time I will just be better prepared to spend more time in the Hall of Shadows, I think. The panels were amazing, but unfortunately, again, we just didn't have enough time. A lot of the ones we wanted to see were happening simultaneously in separate rooms, so we caught the ones that we could. And I am a huge panel fan. I like hearing industry professionals talk, and I think it's a delight that for free you can just go hear these, like, huge top industry standard professionals talk about what they do, what they love, and how they did it. A lot of the time at these sort of cons you get a lot of, like, insider tips and secrets for the upcoming season. I know the Universal panel revealed quite a few things they're doing this year that sound so cool, and they cleared up a lot of questions and took a lot of fan questions on Twitter, or off Twitter rather, so I'm very glad I got to see that one. So in closing, I'd say my one critique about Midsummer Scream is that we just didn't have enough time, because it was only 2 days, and I'm used to conventions being 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got to do about half of what I wanted to do, unfortunately. And I just wanted another day or two. I didn't feel done when it was over. I wanted more time. So that being said, I look forward to going next year, and I hope to see some more familiar faces there. How did you guys like this convention? I know a lot of people went to it. Was there something I missed, or something you loved in particular, something you saw that you think we should know about? Comment below, or follow us on Facebook, let us know. So I just wanted to say thank you guys again for